You're live.
All right, guys. Welcome to this Thursday night edition of the Live Well here at Fish, North Georgia. We're so glad you guys could join us tonight. We got a great show, got a great guest, and an old-time guest back with us tonight. Going to talk some Bassmaster Elite and some fishing locally here with Ryan. If you guys are listening, we're having a little bit of trouble with our volume on one of our TVs. We can hear Robert G., who is our guest tonight, on one, but not on the one right here in front of me. So we're going to be just kind of flowing. That's the way we guys do it here. You know how it is. So let's go ahead and get our sponsors out of the way. And, of course, we always start Sonar Pros, Palmer and guys down there, 770-530-4505, the best in the business. And if you're watching the NPFL today, he's sitting in first, I think, currently. Did we determine he's still in first with 25 pounds? So, Trent, go do what you got to do right there, baby, and we appreciate you. And then we'll go always the best guide on Lake Lanier. And that is Kevin Underwood with Lip Sticker Fishing. You see it every single day. He's holding up clients with big spotted bass. That's what they're coming after. Go to him, check him out on Facebook or at www.lipstickerfishing.com. And then if you're in the paddle sports kayak game, of course, we got our friends Festive Waters off Highway 369, www.festivewater.com. If you're in the paddle boards, fishing kayaks, they just expanded, and they're going to have a whole new showroom designed just for fishing kayaks. So go check the guys out there. And then another MPFL sponsor, the Money Saver Lure Retriever, Richard Key. He had a pretty decent day as well. It is the best lure retriever on the market that I've ever used, bar none. So come to the shop. We got them here at Fish North Georgia, or you can check them out at Fish North Georgia online. And, of course, we got to hit that wide shot there, Tim, for me right behind me. We got Turner Tire in Jasper, Georgia. Right there behind, 706-253-3339, guys, family-owned business. If you are looking for tires for your car or truck, alignment, brakes, Brock and the guys over there will take care of you. Tell them the guys at Fish North Georgia sent you. And then finally, and one that I'm going to partake in plenty tonight because of the way this show has started, we got Etowah Meadery. Are you laughing already?
Already.
So tonight I'm doing the Boggs Creek Oat Stout. All right, so it's really good. If you're in Delano, go check them out. It's a really cool place, college town, nice vibe. But if you're in the mead is classified as a wine, and it can be shipped anywhere in the United States. So Etowah Meadery, beer and wine. Whew. Been one of them days, ain't it?
Yes, it has.
Been one of them days. Guys, we got a great show. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guests. To my left, the one and only back in here with me, Mr. Ryan Sheffield. How are you today?
I'm swell.
Well, this is like olden times when nothing's working right.
Yeah,
you kind of remember. So
brings back memories.
You got to be at home. And then, of course, we got Father Time right here beside us, Kevin, out there in all his glory. There, got a question of the week tonight. It's a good one. Good one. So, what are we gonna give away?
Whatever you want to give away.
We'll figure it out as we go right there. And of course, Tim's in the background. But let's bring to the stage the guy that you guys want to actually talk to right there. So, Mr. Robert Gee, how you doing, bud?
Good. How are y'all? Can y'all hear me good?
We're fantastic. Sorry about the technical difficulties getting the show started. We're just a bunch of yahoos in Marble Hill, Georgia over here. And so we're just glad we got running water and the internet. You know,
Amen.
So where are you joining us from tonight?
I live in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Oh, bless your heart. I didn't know that. So I imagine you're a Vol, huh?
Yes, sir. Yep. I went to Tennessee too. So I was born and raised in Knoxville. Huge Tennessee Vol, and now, I went to UT, so I'm a Vol for life.
What'd you get your degree in?
Food and ag business.
Food and ag business, but then you went into fishing.
Yep.
Yeah, because hey, whatever works. So you got some brains, and so that's pretty cool. We don't get a lot of anglers from around here that have actual brains, so we got an educated man on tonight. You got some brains, though. We'll let you say you got some brains.
Yeah.
All right. So you guys, Robert, you ever watched one of our shows?
I've watched some of them. I think I watched the one with Emil and Az Anderson.
Okay. So you know how it is now.
Mm-hmm.
You know how it is now. So guys in the comment, can you see the comment section on your side?
Hold on.
You may or may not.
I can see it.
Okay, there you go. So we're going to let those guys ask questions. We're not asking the questions. I got for myself. And George Thurton, watch you guys every Tuesday and Thursday evening. Great show, lots of good information. Hey, we appreciate all you guys watching. It's been one of those days trying to get this thing going. That's because you know why I messed up? Because you wanted me to tie jigs right before the show started.
Mm-hmm.
So it's your fault.
I appreciate you tying them too.
Yeah, well, still, I'm gonna blame it all on you.
That's fine.
Okay, there we are. All right, so let's get going. So for those that don't know who you are, that are gonna be watching this later, you went to Tennessee. What lakes did you grow up fishing? I imagine, probably Chick, something like that.
Yeah, so I live on Fort Loudon in Tellico, which is the Classic has been here a few times when it's out of Knoxville. But actually, the lake I grew up like ever since I was in diapers fishing it's a little mountain lake in North Carolina, Nantahala Lake. So my family, my grandpa's had a house on Nantahala Lake since like the 70s, and so ever since I was in diapers, I was going fishing with him over there on Nantahala till I was probably 12 or 13, and that's when I really transitioned to fishing all the time around here on all the East Tennessee lakes. So I grew up fishing North Carolina, Western North Carolina, and then transitioned once I got to middle school to all the East Tennessee lakes. So my main three like home lakes I would consider around here would be Fort Loudon, Tellico, Chickamauga, and Watts Bar.
How much time you spent on Lake Lanier?
I've never actually been to Lanier.
Ooh, we got to get him on Lanier.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, I've spent a lot of time in Western North Carolina, and I've been to, Nantahala and Chattooga, and I really love Chattooga. That's one of my favorite lakes in the country, but never made it down to Lanier. It's just, for some reason, from where I live, it's farther than a lot of other lakes I could go to. It's about 4.5 hours.
Hey, it'll change your life.
I know. I got to get down there.
It'll change your life. So Brittany Fowler says, I was rooting for you for Guy, and then he said he was a Vol. So, you're in Bulldog country.
Yeah, I know.
You got to understand that. So tell me, as a rookie, this is your first year on the Elites.
Yes.
Just tell me how the experience has changed you as an angler, because I imagine you had some expectations and then the reality set in. So tell me a little bit about that kind of transition right there.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. That first tournament, Toledo Bend, I didn't really know what I'd got myself into. Just once I launched the boat that morning and got the pre-Elite Series jitters, just looking around, I see Jason Christie and Rick Clunn, and I mean, guys that I've been watching on TV all my life, I was just Gerald Swindle over there backing in right beside me when I put in. I was just like, what am I doing here? Like,
that's right. Yep.
I was pinching myself and just like questioning myself. Am I even supposed to be here? Right. You know what I mean? I'm just a regular guy from Tennessee. And I was like, what? How am I on the same stage as these guys? Yeah. But I mean, throughout the year, I really, I feel like I matured as an angler. Last year, the Opens, I feel like I didn't mature as much as I did this year with making like sound decisions and just really, I guess I feel like I grew up and started fishing more like a sound person instead of a young kid. You know what I mean? I make money decisions. You know what I mean? That's I feel like that's really what's helped me out this year.
So how many tournaments in did you finally figure out in your mind I belong here?
Probably 4 in.
Okay.
Because
what event was that?
After the fourth one was St. John's River. We had 2 in Texas, then 2 in Florida. So the first one in Texas, it was my first tournament, and somehow or another I got 4th place. Like, I had a great practice and a great tournament, absolutely whacked them. But then I fished on that day 4, and we had to immediately go to Lake Fork and start practice the next day. So I'd never fished a 4-day tournament like that in my life. And I was worn out for practice on Fork and then just made bad decisions in the tournament because I guess I was tired and not really ready for it and just had a bad tournament. So I was really questioning myself for that whole month, I guess. We had to wait because of the Classic was in between those 2 first sets of tournaments. And I was like, I got to keep it on the tracks because I had 1 good tournament and 1 real bad one. And I just was like, so that kind of evened itself out to I got 42nd in both of them. So I was like, I I got to figure this out. In Florida, I suck in Florida. It's my least favorite place to go and fish because it's just totally different than anything I've really used to, other than I have to fish grass the whole time. I mean, I fish grass at Chick, but I just don't really care for Florida. But I went down to Florida, cashed 2 checks, and that really got my momentum back to just where I went down there and, you know, I wasn't on the winning deal, but I just grinded myself 2 checks out, and that's kind of when I felt like I belong.
Oh, yeah. When you get paid, that changes your attitude a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I got that. So Kevin smiled when he said Florida, you know, you hate Florida, or that's the worst, because Kevin is from Florida.
Yeah.
And I don't know, are you trying to, can you swap that camera on? Yeah. So you trying to figure out, we can pull Kevin and Ryan and them up here. So, yeah, there you go. So Kevin, deep in Florida is what? 7 foot, 8 foot, 7, 8 foot. And so I imagine the lakes you fish growing up in Tennessee and all that, a little bit different right there.
Oh, yeah, it's very different. And, like, I don't know. I feel like I'm very, I guess, a complicated angler. Or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just make it too hard in Florida, and it's really easy, but I just make it too hard. You know what I mean?
I think we all do that. So, you know, going in, we got a question. Fred Ashcraft. So, question from a viewer here. When Rick Clunn announced on stage his retirement, what did you think?
I mean, I was pretty sad, but I thought it was really cool that my rookie year I got to compete against Rick Clunn because, I mean, he's the all-time GOAT. I mean, 50 years fishing professionally, 500 professional tournaments. I mean, the guy, I don't think anyone ever will probably have a career like that. So he's truly just a different breed. You know what I'm saying? They don't make them like they used to kind of guy.
Oh, absolutely. When you pull up at a tournament like that and, you know, you see your fishing against somebody like that, are you in awe? And then if you're in awe for how long? And then you're like, I got to kick this guy's ass for the next 4 days.
For sure. I try not to even think about it because I'm just like, this guy's won 4 classics and like 48 tournaments.
Yeah.
But you just kind of, I like to focus on me and the fish, not versus who I'm trying to fish against. You know what I mean?
I understand.
It really helped me out.
That's a good idea. Ryan, we've talked a lot with guys that have been on here. You know, the rookie class this year on the elites was pretty stout.
Yeah.
Now, you watch probably professional fishing more than anybody I know. You keep up with it more than anybody I know. Compare this crop to what you've seen in the past.
Well, from watching all of you guys, from guys in the past, I can pretty safely say, in my personal opinion, you guys, y'all kind of, the wheels turn faster for you guys. I think. I feel like you guys, just from watching results, tournament after tournament, I think you guys y'all can put the pieces of the puzzle together faster than some of the previous guys. And I'm not saying anything bad about the last generation that's come through, but you know, you've made it. I think we can all safe to say that you've made it.
Yeah, he's made it.
And you're, you know, unless you make a personal decision to not fish professionally anymore, you're going to probably stay fishing professionally. I would probably think. I can't answer that for you, but for me, it's been there's so much drama involved in everything now, and I think that's taken away from the fact that, you know, the one thing that's get lost sight of, throw forward facing sonar and all that stuff out of the window. The fact that you guys as a generation compared to me, and I'm older than you, so compared to me and then compared to your generation and all of you guys that are much younger, you guys have so much more access to information that we never had. My age group in the mid 30s had access to.
Right.
You know, when I started fishing tournaments, you know, YouTube was new. Well, there wasn't very many people on YouTube posting fishing videos. Now, if you want to learn how to do anything, and I know you'll probably agree with this, if you got a question about anything, someone throws a technique out there and you're like, I ain't never heard what the hell that is. All you got to do is YouTube it. And there's 500 videos of somebody's different perspective. And I think that's the biggest thing nowadays is you guys are so good at the professional level that y'all can take bits and pieces from everyone who does a technique, and you can all push them together, and then you'll try it. And then whatever is comfortable for you, you guys run with it. And then you add that to your repertoire. But again, like I said a while ago, throw technology out of it. You guys have the ability that if you so desire, and I'm sure you do, to consume as much knowledge as you can possibly get for fishing. You're going to do it, because you don't get to where you are sitting here at your house talking to us and whoever else, other podcasts that you might be on as time continues to go on, because I'm sure you will. You're just guys like y'all have it, and y'all just have so much more want to and the ability to than, a lot of other people. When I was growing up, all we had was Bassmaster magazine.
Mm-hmm.
He makes it sound like he's 85 damn years old.
I know it may sound like I'm saying that, but in such a 10-year span, I would safely say in a 10-year span, the amount of information that is out there in the world now is increased so much compared to what it was. And I know, and I'm not that old. I'm almost 33, but there was the 2010 through like 2017, 2018, information just started flowing. And there was people letting stuff go. There was people filming TV shows. There was magazines. The whole people starting to post more YouTube stuff was really starting to roll. Tactical Bassing, I know they're up there. They live up there now in Tennessee, where you live now.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys were trailblazers. You wanted to know how to crank deep ledges on the Tennessee River. Well, you watch the Tactical Bassing video, and they gave you everything from rod, reel, line, location, boat positioning, everything on how to do it and how to be successful. And people went and done it, and then they just, I know how to do it now.
What do you think now? Let me try to decipher all that. You think they're just damn smarter at listening than we were? Because let's throw this at you. When you first got started,
ask him that question.
Where did you get your information on how to fish? Who taught you how to fish, number one? And then as far as this technology and everything, what shaped the way you fish?
So basically, my grandpa and my dad taught me how to fish, but the way they taught me how to fish was every time we went out, we would keep everything we caught for a fish fry. You know what I mean? Like up at Nantahala Lake every Saturday night. If you go to my grandpa's house, he'll have a fish fry with either 5 people or 25 people every Saturday night. And he thinks what I do is the dumbest thing ever because I turn him back. You know what I mean? He slaps the side on everything. He gets in the boat. But that's who taught me.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that's who taught me how to just catch them. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I've always had that just go and catch them because you're trying to get food mentality. And that transitioned into a competitive drive I've had because I played sports growing up like nonstop. And that's what really got into it. So, and you're right, that 2010 to 2018, that was my prime time. Like 2010, I was 11. And so from 11 years old at 2010 to 2017, 18, that's when I, had a phone and a computer and all that. So everything just evolved.
Do you really spend that much time even now watching like YouTube and stuff for information when you guys are allowed to? Not anymore?
Not as much as, in college I did, in high school I did big time because I don't know if y'all know this, but last year was my first year fishing the opens, but I fished in college for 5 years before that. So I graduated college last year mid-season of the opens. So I just hopped into the opens right as I was getting done with college.
And then now you're an elite.
Yeah.
That's a pretty quick rise right there. Dane Hunter wants to know this question from a viewer. When you go to a new body of water, what is your thought process to break down the lake?
So I basically I'm an offshore fisherman. Like I grew up ledge fishing. Like that's my biggest thing because that was huge when I was, young and learning because KVD was out on Kentucky Lake catching hundreds of pounds, and that was just so fascinating to me. So I've always catered to the more offshore game. So I go out and in. So I try to find a pattern or areas or spots or anything like that offshore first, and then I work my way shallow. That's just the way I approach lakes everywhere across the country, unless it's going to be somewhere mid-April, Carolinas, Georgia, Tennessee, and I know they're all going to be on the bed. Like it's perfect warming trend. Like then I'll start shallow. You know what I mean? Right. But mainly my approach is start out deep because it's harder to find and locate areas and spots and everything like that deeper than it is to figure out a pattern up shallow to me, if that makes sense. Okay. So I'm more confident in myself to like not finding anything off the bank and then in the tournament just go winging it up shallow because I feel like my best shallow days of when I've not beat on the bank and tried to fish stretches again. It's when I'm just fishing my instincts up shallow. That's when I have my best days shallow fishing.
So would you consider yourself a finesse guy?
Yeah. I like finesse fishing. I mean, I fish.
It's not a dirty word around here. We live on Lanier.
Yeah. So I mean, this area of the country, North Georgia, Western North Carolina, East Tennessee, there is a lot of anglers. Like people fish a tournament every night of the week.
Yeah.
So our fish are probably the most pressured in Alabama too. They're the most pressured fish in the country, or probably in the most pressured bass in the world. So if you're fishing in 2024, you have to be confident in your finesse game to be able to be a all around angler. Because like the conditions, if you have poor conditions, you have to finesse fish.
Right. Yeah, when it gets tough. Andy Anderson said, would you mind letting the North Georgia High School and college anglers know Logan Parks, your travel mate, still has a few spots open for Fishing Chaos event in October? That's a great opportunity. So can you tell us a little bit about that event?
Yeah, so my roommate, Logan Parks, me and him graduated college at the same time. We went through college and everything. But he's having this awesome tournament in Alabama at Lake Martin in 2 months where it's $25,000 for first place. And you also, if you enter the tournament, you get your name entered in a raffle, and whoever wins that raffle gets his 2024 Elite Series season boat.
That's not bad right there.
And how the tournament's set up is a college angler and a high school angler get to fish as team partners. And it's like an MLF tournament style where every fish counts.
So what was his thinking behind it? Why did he want to put this together?
Logan is a businessman. So he's always trying to just evolve in his business plan. So, I mean, hats off to him. That's an insane tournament. And it's called the Insane Tournament.
We need to get some more information and put that up on the Fish North Georgia page too. So, Andy, I know you're always sending me emails and stuff. Give me the information.
If you're in high school, why wouldn't you sign up for it? You can win literally a $100,000 nitro boat, fully rigged, and he's sponsored by Abu Garcia Berkeley. They're fully loading all the boxes on the inside of the boat with new stuff from Abu and Berkeley.
There you go. That's pretty cool. Let's see. Brittany Fowler says I'm glad to see you again. Yeah, I just noticed your name the other night, so I'm glad you showed back up. And I know it's not Brittany. It's what was his name? Did y'all see it the other night? Remember, that's her husband. Y'all remember his name? Well, Brittany's husband is on again. The difference is these guys can sit on their couch and get more knowledge on their laptop reading maps, Google Earth, backdating, wind maps, etc. to find honey, and the OG is on the water trying. I don't know about that.
That's not true.
Yeah,
that's far. That's the farthest from the. No offense to you, Justin. That's as far from the truth as you could possibly get.
Okay, so yeah, and that's the kind of thing. Like, and I don't know Robert as much, but I know like the Emils of the world. I know Emil very well. Dude, they can just go fish. I mean, hell, he probably could catch a fish out of this asphalt road going in front. I mean, those guys are that good. So I totally get what you're saying. There is more information, but just because you can read it don't mean you can do it.
Answer this question, Robert. Answer this question for everyone who's viewing. When do you learn the most about yourself? Sitting down behind the computer or standing on the deck of your boat?
Standing on the deck of my boat. Yeah, I was going to say along with that was I was so bought in from probably since I was like 18 to try to do this that I spent I tried to make it my goal to at least fish 4 or 5 days a week out of the 7 days. Because that's the best way I can really tell anybody that wants to get better at fishing is you just have to put time into it like it's a professional sport. Like you're taking batting practice every day, like Mark McGuire or freaking, some MLB player is going to hit in the batting cage every day. So if you want to be a professional fisherman, you have to go fishing every day. And you got to make a lot of sacrifices and not live a regular life. But if you want to, be really good, that's what you kind of got to do.
Yeah, and I've noticed even with these high schoolers up here in North Georgia, they're on the water a lot. Your serious ones are on the water.
It's with any sport. Practice, practice, practice.
Yeah, they're on the water. So I understand there's more information available to them. However, I know a lot of kids that read a lot of stuff, and if they don't get out and put it into practice, that doesn't help them at all. So I kind of get what you're saying. But like Reed Rook's got a comment right here, and Reed is an up and coming high school angler here in North Georgia. In fact, just took third place on Smith Lake with his partner out of a 200 boat tournament. He spends a lot of time, but he wants to know this: tournament practice during a scoping tournament, whether it's brush or just structure. In general, what would you say your fishing / idle percentage range is? 50% idle, 50% fish, for example? Like, I guess, how much are you looking? How much are you actually fishing?
Probably 70-30, 70% idle looking and 30% fishing.
Okay. We got a lot of brush piles around here in our lakes like that. You pull up on a spot, say a brush pile or something, and you scan.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that makes you interested? Say that spot, that's a spot I can throw. Are you good enough now where you can determine the size of the fish, or just by looking at it, seeing these guys are going to bite?
Oh yeah, I mean, I just like areas with a lot of fish. Honestly, that's my main goal is to not. I mean, in the opens, it was a different story. I felt like I had to fish for like those one fish places more because everything was so beat up. But in a normal weeknight tournament, Saturday morning tournament, or the Bassmaster Elite, I mean, areas with a bigger population is what I try to find.
Right.
Because you need fish for 4 days.
Yeah, you got to find the fish for sure. Ken Pruitt says it was fun to watch Robert pat those smallies on the belly. He made forward-facing sonar entertaining. So, okay, and I don't want to get into a big, long, huge I'm tired of hearing about forward-facing sonar. It is what it is. But to make it entertaining, how do we do that? How do we do it?
I mean, I think it was cool how they had my screen on live, and you could actually anticipate like one maybe biting, because I mean that's one of my favorite things in the world. It's kind of like buck fever if you have one hot on your bait. Like I have the same adrenaline rush as I would, I don't know, flinging an arrow or shooting a 270. It's kind of like primal or something. Like my hands start sweating, So I love it. But
so you like to hunt too?
Yeah, I do. For sure.
We're getting ready to open it here in Georgia. When does it open in Tennessee?
It already opened. Velvet season, yeah.
See, we don't have a velvet season.
Well, y'all get like 3 weeks, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. Yeah.
That is not right. How come we don't have a velvet season here in Georgia? We ain't never had one there. South Carolina's got one, right? You ever hunted in South Carolina?
I have not. Just Tennessee.
I'm just curious like that. But anyway, so I'm glad that you do a lot of things outdoors instead of just fishing, get out. I know when we talked to Gussie, he was almost ready for the season to be over because he was ready to go hunting. And I saw G-Man, he's got his bow out, everybody. So, you guys excel at a lot of different things. Huh?
Yeah, right now, I'm still fishing. I don't like to go out and get ate up by ticks and go try to kill a deer with velvet. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
fully.
How old are you again?
25.
25. Wait till you get 52. Crawling up them stands in 90-degree September heat is not.
Yeah.
It's not for me no more. Eric Richards wants to know what would be the best thing to tell a high school angler to keep them in the game, to keep them motivated and into fishing?
I mean, that's tough. I feel like in order to do this sport, you kind of have to motivate yourself, because you don't want to try to force somebody to do it if they don't really want to, you know. But I mean, I felt like I wasn't ever. Nobody had to motivate me to keep doing this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
So
were you that way, Kevin?
No, I would tell them they need that education first, so they're not worrying about their grades when they're out.
That is true. Yes, that is true. I agree with that.
I came to you for an adult answer. I knew I'd get it.
Yeah, I will say, I mean, if it was my choice, I would have done the Trey McKinney route, where I would have just fit as soon as I graduated high school. But my mom and dad made me get my education because they didn't have faith in me, I guess, to actually make it as a professional fisherman.
But they did that out of love.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They did that out of love, because in reality, let me ask you this, put it this way. Do you realize the percentages of guys, how small it is, that ever make it to the professional level on any sport, much less fishing?
That
so
is
if you
true.
took the MLF and the elites and the NPFL, just take those three. There's 300 of you guys in the entire world to get to do this?
Something like that. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's truly.
So how does that make you feel? How does it make you feel that you're one of those?
Feels good. Not going to lie.
I like it. I like your answer. A lot of guys will be like, well, something. No, it feels good to the man. A lot of guys would like to be exactly where you're at. On the elites, give me so far in this year going across, what has been the biggest, and I don't want to use the word disappointment, but maybe the lowest of the lows. Everybody wants to hear the good stuff. I want to hear the bad stuff. What was like the lowest of the low?
I don't know. I felt like this year, in the past, watching, I'm a huge Bassmaster fan and just professional fisherman fan. So I've watched it nonstop and followed the sport real hard. And I felt like used to, whenever there would be like guys my age, like Jordan Lee and those Dustin Connell and those guys, they would be like praised whenever they were rookies and actually did good. But this year it just felt totally like everybody was against us. You know what I mean? Like even the guys we fished against. I mean, it was kind of disappointing, because everybody I felt like we had a target on our back and everybody wanted us to do bad. So that kind of sucked.
I'm glad you are honest to say and said that, because that's one thing we've sat here and noticed, and we've talked about it, is that, y'all have had crap just thrown at y'all all year long.
It's exhausting.
It is exhausting.
I don't see how you guys really honestly handled it, because just me, an onlooker, bad as I hate to say it, I've had to unfollow a bunch of fishing pages on Facebook, because you can't even look at anything without the comment section.
I know.
It's so negative. It's
for sure.
You guys are getting to live the dream of guys like me who, at one point in their life thought they could make a shot at trying to become a professional bass fisher and wanted to try to be a professional bass fisherman. And, not saying I envy you by no means, but you guys, y'all guys are living the dream. And I guess it's just the day and age that we live in now, where if someone is successful, there's always seems to be 3 or 4 people trying to tear that person down. It's just no one can pat each other on the back and say, good job, I'm proud of you.
Yep.
And there's none of that anymore. And it's really pathetic. There's really no other way to say it.
I agree. So we're pretty laid back on this podcast, and we ain't got no rules or anything, but did you ever just want to scream or just tell everybody to F off, or just, I know you're a well-mannered kid, but seriously, just the emotions, did you ever want to just lash out at them a little bit and say, hey, this is what's true?
Definitely. I definitely wanted to, but I knew that wasn't the right thing for me to do. But it was, I just felt like there was a lot of tension between guys this year on the elites and us, and it was just, I don't know. I didn't really care for it.
Do you think
changing of the guard?
It is. Do you think the older anglers, and we're not going to use anybody by name, do you think the older anglers fear you guys a little bit?
I don't know. They don't like it.
Yes.
I say yes.
I say all three of us say yes,
Absolutely.
but I mean, from your point of view,
I don't think so. I don't know. I know they don't really care for us. I know that.
They don't really care for you. I get that.
And they do fear you.
Is that what it is? You think there's some fear?
Wise man told me that if someone throws shade at you, it means they're scared of you.
That's what Ryan said earlier. They've got so much more technology. They're advanced in understanding and learning. They're not afraid to try it. Where we are worried about messing the scope up, where we can't see anything. There's so much more information out there for them to get. So, in the old guys, like Ryan was talking about and myself, we didn't have that back then.
Right.
So these guys have had to learn standing on the front of their boat, where these guys here that are coming up now have got all that information in front of them if they want to use it. But it goes back to what he said. And every guy that you've had on this podcast has said that. Time on the water.
Mm-hmm.
Time on the water. And if these guys are afraid of the young crew coming up, then they're not spending enough time on the water.
That is Kevin Thornton approved right there.
The thing about it is, and I don't know if you'll agree with this, Robert. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. The thing about it is all these guys that have been professionals for 30 plus years, they were in your shoes at one point. That they were new.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you think? And I know you said you watched a lot of Bassmasters and stuff, still do, old ones. Do you think anybody do you think they were intimidated when Danny Brower come by and basically went to every single tournament flipping a jig and kicked everybody's ass, flipping a black and blue jig? I mean, but you just didn't hear about it like you did in the 80s. But I mean, Danny, all you got to do is pull up an 80s Bassmaster, and there's Danny Brower on the bank flipping a black and blue jig like nobody's business, and that's all he did. And then you see him, the narrator for Bassmaster, he's like, but Danny Brower's coming to the stage, and there he is with a 7-pounder. He's like, well, he got that big bite today.
Mm-hmm.
And they just, everyone was new. We were all new to it. It's no different than in fishing than it is in the workplace. Everyone was new at one point.
Yeah,
everyone was young at one point. And I really don't want to get involved in it because one particular individual really, 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 as soon as I saw the post on Facebook, I laughed. I laughed so hard that I almost cried because he was literally not even a couple of years ago, and I ain't gonna say his name, but he was literally talking about how the new technology helped him catch back up. And I know we know who we're talking about.
You and him, okay? I get it. I don't. Who are we talking about?
I don't want to.
Who are we talking about, Ryan? Ball up and tell me who we're talking about.
Clark Wendlet.
Clark Wendlet. Okay, that's fine. I mean, I don't know Clark.
I mean,
So-
there's a video from like 3-4 years ago where he's talking about how forward-facing sonar is going to be a game changer and how new technology is going to be the betterment for the sport. And now he's wrote this big old long essay basically downsizing it, and it's like you're a hypocrite.
You say,
you're a hypocrite.
Tell us how you feel there.
I didn't want to get that deep into it. I really don't.
No, I get what you're saying.
It's just
that's another topic, though.
It is another topic.
It is another topic. But my thing is that if you watch baseball, the older guys, when a rookie comes up, the older guys are supposed to embrace him, bring him along. Football, when the quarterback has a rookie drafted behind him, well, it's changed a little bit, but he's expected to learn behind the vets, and the vets come down and take him along and teach him a little bit. I don't see that much in professional fishing.
That's Brett Favre's fault.
It's not a team sport, but it is a community. It's a camaraderie a little bit. You don't think that should happen?
I think it's a camaraderie, with the team, but
that's not going to happen. What do you think about that? Do you feel isolated or anything like that?
Not anymore.
Huh?
Not anymore.
I'm sure you guys. You guys don't give each other the juice by no means for each tournament, but I'm sure you guys, y'all bump into each other on the water, y'all talk.
Yeah, I feel like us.
What you been doing all day? I've been on the bank. It's like, hey, I'm not going to tell you, you might want to get offshore.
Yeah, I mean, I tell John and Logan that because I mean we're John Garrett and Logan Parks. They're my roommates, and Cody
Right.
Hull. We share stuff like that, but I don't really call anybody else, you know. But I mean, if I see some of the other rookies, I'll wave at them, and if they pull up, and we'll just shoot the bull, and we won't really discuss areas or how we're catching them really.
Right. Well, how tight are you with all the rookies?
I feel like we kind of like all respect each other and talk to one another whenever we see, because at the beginning of the year, I feel like that was the only people that would talk to us, kind of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I agree. Yeah.
That's the camaraderie right there.
Yeah.
This year's class.
This year's class, so they got camaraderie within themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Clint Bartlett says, you got that American dog in you. He was out there duking it out for 50 stars and 13 bars. I saw something about Chick-fil-A. You're big on Chick-fil-A. I saw that today when I was kind of scrolling through some stuff about you and all that. I think everybody can get behind Chick-fil-A.
No
Old,
doubt.
young, everybody.
I don't know if
behind
y'all saw it, but at Smith Lake, a Chick-fil-A boat, a pontoon boat, Chick-fil-A on the side of it, pulled up and gave me some sandwiches just in the middle of the tournament.
Yeah.
That was the craziest thing I've ever seen. But I guess that's where it all
you appreciated it, didn't you?
Oh, heck
You
yeah.
liked it? Heck yeah. We got to make sure we get them some sandwiches they ever come down to Lanier and all that. Tell me about the highs this year. Like, okay, we talked a little bit about the lows and kind of the negative stuff, but some of the high things that have happened to you, some of the successes. Of course, we know you finished the season hot as hell. I mean, you were on a roll right there at the end of the year. It seemed like you got your wheels turning, got everything going, and started putting fish in the boat and starting, some successful tournaments back to back to back and all that. What was the high point?
I guess the last 3 tournaments, honestly, I just felt like I was, in a groove. I mean, I feel like every fisherman knows what I'm talking about. You just got the hot hand, if that makes sense. Like every decision you make in practice or in the tournament just feels right and it happens. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how it was just going. So, I mean, it just, whenever you're on something like that, you just have to appreciate it, because you never know when it's going to be like that again, because this sport is such a sport of failure, honestly. And you just got to appreciate it and just really be thankful.
Right there. So I wasn't going to bring it up, but I do have a comment. Now, I watched you last night on Straycast.
Mm-hmm.
So Buddy Ken said that you were on Straycast, and you were on with the Johnson brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And let's go ahead and take care of this. It seemed to me watching that it was really a blowed out of proportion thing, and you guys get along. It got made much bigger than what it really was. So the question was, what do you think about the Johnson brothers' comments about you fishing their spot? Now, Christopher Brown says he believes it was kind of BS on them, but after watching last night and you guys talk, it seems that there was a lot more that we didn't get to hear.
I mean, not really. It was all right. I mean, I did fish there all day one, and I guess Chris was somewhere out in the lake fishing. And then day 2, everybody that started there wasn't there but me and Trey McKinney. He was fishing probably 100 yards or 150 yards away from me. Right. And he was throwing a drop shot, and I was doing something different. And Chris pulled up in between us and was throwing a drop shot. And day 2, Trey caught 25 pounds, and I caught 26 pounds right with Chris in between us, and he didn't get a bite. So then day 3, he rolls down there and just is sitting next to me, throwing the same bait I was on day 3, but he wasn't on day 2. And I just was like, really, dude? Is that cool?
Yeah.
He was just kind of said, I made this spot famous, which I didn't know.
Right.
But I was like, well, I figured he is the St. Lawrence River King, so he probably does know about this spot. So I was like, well, I guess I can't really argue with that, because like I'm a rookie, so I didn't really want to show myself in front of a camera.
Right.
So I just.
Was you thinking it?
Oh yeah, but I mean, I just had to grit down and try to outfish them.
I understand that. So interesting. Greg Perry, the right question is, Robert pulls up on the Johnson. Would you pull up on the Johnson boys or anyone for that matter?
Probably not in that scenario. Or
Yeah.
I wouldn't do like I wouldn't pull up that close, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Is that one of the unwritten rules of professional bass fishing?
I mean, I don't know if it's about professional, but I'd say around where we live, it's an unwritten rule in bass fishing.
Mm-hmm. So it's a southern thing. They're from Canada. Maybe they don't have that up there.
I mean, yeah.
They said I've only talked to Chris. I talked to Chris at the TAA tournament. I've not talked to the other brothers. So Robert says they don't own the water. I totally get that. I don't think it was Chris fishing the spot so much as it was there were two guys on the water physically working together. So that's a whole nother situation with them. But possibly hindering another angler. So let me ask you this: how many roommates you say you had?
I have 3 other roommates.
So how much do you guys really work together before and during a tournament?
We work together pretty well. I mean, we try to tell each other like what we think the deal is. Not like we don't try to share exact locations,
Right.
But
That they have to abide by when it comes to sharing information.
How does that work with roommates?
I thought they could share with other anglers within that tournament.
yeah, we can.
Yeah, how about answer that? So within a tournament, can you share information with other anglers?
Yes. Like we sit down and eat dinner, and talk about our days at practice, you know what I mean? And just
Right.
like what we learned and try to share with each other what we learned about how the lake's fishing.
Yeah.
But you guys can't like share waypoints though, or
Yeah, we
trade
could.
cards. You
we
could.
can. Yeah. Like if
I
John
always
Garrett
thought that was one of the rules of the information.
They can't get it from outside.
They can't get it from outside.
Yeah, I can't call you guys if we're fishing on Lanier and be like, "Hey, where's the juice?"
Hey,
but
you can. I won't tell on you. I'm just kidding.
But
the hell with the rules. So I think a lot of people do think that because that's where the gray area is on getting information, and there are rules in place like that. But yeah, nobody knows what goes on. I don't think the public knows what's going on inside a house with teammates or with guys that room together. And we had the MPFL guys on. We had Walters and Trent and the guys. They talked.
We'll have to do a reality show.
You want to do a reality show?
Yeah, we'll go watch 4 anglers.
Hang out with them. I'm sure they're going to invite this bunch of idiots.
hey, we have a YouTube channel if y'all want to see how it really goes down. If you go on Logan Parks' YouTube,
Yeah,
we have a camera guy that follows us around and films us at the house and follows Logan on the water mainly, but me too and some of our other guys if we're catching them. But it shows us behind the scenes too, so that's kind of how it works.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let me ask you this: you're coming down to the last day of a tournament. Let's say you and Logan are 1-2.
Mm-hmm.
What's the night like before? Are you two kind of? I mean, I'm sure you're still friendly, but you're competing against each other the next day for possibly $100,000 check or whatever.
Mm-hmm. I mean, just tell each other good luck. We're that good of buddies where it's just not. We don't have any like animosity towards each other. Like this year, several times, at Smith Lake, Logan was fishing the same area I was fishing the first 2 days of the tournament. At like where I caught him and almost won the tournament at, he was fishing in my area. But day 3, I caught him real good in the first hour, and in that first couple hours, I was like, "Hey man, I've got him good. Like I'm gonna be fishing tomorrow." And he was in like 40th, and I was like, "You care if I have this?" And he just rolled and went and fished somewhere else. You know what I mean? So we have like a level of respect to where if somebody catching, and same thing happened when John Garrett won on Harris Chain. Cody Huff and him were sharing that area because they both found it just separately without even knowing. They both found the same school of fish, and they both fished it day 1 and 2. But since John had a better tournament than Cody did, Cody just went and fished another lake on day 3 because they both were going to cash a check. And Cody, we respect one another to, like, if you have a better shot of winning, that's yours now. After we're both going to make a check. You know what I mean?
I do. I know exactly what you mean, and that makes sense. Now, Titus Williams wants to know: did your DMs get flooded once you made it big?
I mean, I had a lot of people congratulating me. I wouldn't say with the ladies. I don't
that
know.
was where I was getting ready to go. Like,
Yeah.
did you get any ladies, from that?
Not too many. Not too many.
No,
No, I don't think a lot of women like to watch professional fishing.
Yeah, but look, hey, you show up in that shiny boat and you got a pocket full of money. It changes a lot of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Let's see. So, they're making fun of me in the comments about me giving you juice and everything.
What is the outside? Is the outside information rule still from?
We can't receive any
announcement of the schedule is made.
Yeah, so we can't talk to any outside sources. We can only talk to competitors.
Now, let me ask you this, because this is a situation, because we own a tackle shop. There's a gray area in there. If you're in here, and I know you're fishing Lanier, and I know I can't talk to you one-on-one, but a buddy of mine comes in, and I ask him a question that might help you, and you hear it. You know what I'm saying? That gray area. Yeah. You're not participating in that conversation, but you hear it. Do you think things like that go on?
Definitely, I'd say. I feel like, though, half the time we go to these lakes, they're so remote, there's not even a tackle store around. So
really,
yeah, like
ain't no problem here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but
so you need a mullet.
That stuff often happens like that. Like, I don't even know what that would do. I guess you'd have to call and turn yourself in that you overheard somebody talking,
and let them be the judge.
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of curious. I've always wondered that, because I just think that's kind of a gray area, because you're not really
what you're supposed to do. What you're supposed to do in that scenario is like, just pause the conversation and be like, "Listen, guys, I cannot overhear or get any information.
Gotcha.
About this lake. Just do this for me, and then let me pay, and I'll leave, and then y'all can talk about it."
So have a little bit of integrity like that.
Yeah.
I totally get that. But when he was talking about DMs, how about like with companies, like sponsors and stuff? Once you started, proving yourself more successful, did you have companies reaching out to you and saying, "Hey, we got our eye on you," or "Hey, could you come to our side?"
Yeah, a little bit. Not as much as you would really think. I feel like the fishing industry kind of now is, I don't know, I guess watered down with so many influencers and just like YouTubers and stuff, to where they can spread their money out way more than they did back in the prime time days, So it's not like we're signing big deals or nothing, but I definitely, I'm trying to work on some non-endemics this coming year. Like the guy that brought me Chick-fil-A, I'm actually talking with him, and I'm trying to get a Chick-fil-A sponsorship for this coming next year. So that'll be cool if I can land that. So, yeah, all the fishing companies there, and I mean, like all the MLF guys and Bassmaster, they've got their whole roster of pro staffers. So it's really hard for a guy like me that's a rookie to make them want me. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Exactly. No, I know exactly what you're saying. Kind of, a lot of people think, "Oh, he's a Bassmaster Elite," or somebody else says it's this glorious life that, you guys are just showed up to fish. You're rolling in the dough. You're making all this money. You got no expenses whatsoever. But tell us what the reality is.
Yeah, I mean, you have to love this. You have to love fishing more than anything to really do it, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, it does.
If I sit back and think about what I'm doing, it makes zero sense. Like, this is not a way to make a good living.
Right.
Even though I'm a professional. Yeah. The only reason I'm doing it is because I love to go fishing, and I feel like I am at full peace when I'm on the water. You know what I mean? Like,
I got that. But you know what I'm talking about, the perspective. It's like when you own a tackle shop, people thinking you're making tons of money on selling some Zoom worms and stuff like that. Like you're rolling in the dough. That ain't the reality, is it?
Yeah, no.
No, it ain't the reality. So
no,
the guys made on the elite level and stuff, and the MLF level, they're the top 5%.
Yeah,
just their name alone, they got guys throwing money at them.
But you got to earn that.
You do.
It takes a long time.
Yeah, I feel like to really make it in this sport is you have to win the Classic or Angler of the Year or Red Crest or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
a big event, something like that.
Like,
I know a lot of guys. Go ahead.
Like even if I won an Elite Series tournament, like I don't think it would be me making it. You know what I mean?
Right. So I know Patrick Walters said something that was kind of interesting. Is like you take $100,000, but by the time you take away the entry fee, the gas, the time, all the lodging and everything, then your taxes or whatever, everything. It's not a lot. It's not as much as people think it is. It's not like that. I've talked to guys sleeping in their trucks.
There's a lot of that. There was a lot of that.
Like the other sports paychecks have.
Let me ask him about this. So when we had those guys on, I asked them what was the one thing they could change in professional fishing, and they brought up, it was Patrick, right? Patrick brought up the fact that they're still making the same for winning a tournament that they did in the
1997
or since 97.
Yeah,
it's been $100,000, but every other expense has gone up. So what
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, how can we get the payouts bigger?
There's been several, ideas thrown out at our meetings and stuff, but I really think the best we have to just make it more fun for the viewer and more lucrative for these big time sponsors like non-endemic companies to sponsor, so we don't have to pay entry fees anymore and Bass is just rolling in it to where we can fish for free. Like, I mean, It's kind of crazy to think about. It is a professional sport, but I have to pay $45,000 to go and even fish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if I don't pay the entry fee, I can't even show up and put my boat in the water at this pro tournament that I qualified for.
Right.
So it's kind of, if you sit back and think, like I said, it ain't all that. You have to really love it.
Yeah.
It was getting close a long time ago. About the time he was about 5-6 years old, it was real close. And then this little thing called a recession hit.
Yep.
Yeah.
And a bunch of those non-endemic sponsors pulled out, and they ain't never showed back up.
They never showed back up again. All right, so guys, we're about halfway through. And again, Robert, I appreciate you so far, hanging with us, and especially that little rough start we had and everything. Well, thank you. What we're going to do is we're going to do the question of the night. Now, a couple things I'm going to do before. First, I want to tell you first about a situation that we got, guys that fish the ABA here in North Georgia. This is something for you guys to start thinking about over the next few weeks. Our buddy Alex Pierce was diagnosed, I believe it was bladder cancer. They just got the diagnosis, and I talked to Dane Hunter about that, and he's going to be throwing a benefit tournament coming up soon, and we're going to start doing some stuff to kind of help out Alex. So you guys keep Alex in your thoughts. If you know him, reach out to him, tell him you're supporting him and everything, because this is what our fishing community is all about here in North Georgia, is being there for others. And speaking of heroes, and he's probably going to kill me for doing this, put the camera on you, Tim. You're not going to say much back there. He's back there pressing the buttons. But for those of you that don't know,
you may be able to hear me.
What are you doing? I can't even hear you back there.
Can you not hear me?
Well, we hear you enough. But anyway, so Tim is a police officer. And the other night, Tim actually helped save a woman's life in a Walmart that was had a situation going on. Won't tell you about the situation, but the fact, Tim, I wanted to say personally, and this, I think our viewers will express that, is that the job you do, you don't get near the credit. But the fact that you
or the thanks, but the fact that you put your life on the line and you're willing to help people and save people's lives. So I'm about to tear up saying it. Seriously, dude. I mean, that's good stuff.
Thank you.
So between you and between what's going on with Alex, it just kind of brings us in to remind our community, the guys that are a part of it. So love what you do. You guys reach out to Alex and help him out here with whatever you can, and in the future. And you see a cop or something, I know it's kind of like these rookies here. They get a bad rap that I think is kind of unfair. They're out there serving us and helping us and keeping us safe. So, if you're a cop out there or a fireman or any nurse, whatever, all you guys, military, we appreciate you more than you know. So I just want to tell you, Tim, I love you, and I appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And now, what we're going to do is we're going to do your question of the week. You're going to read it out 2 times. We're going to give away an Evolve rod sleeve. That's going to be the winner. After you read your question the second time, we are going to show you a clip, if you didn't see it Tuesday night, of our Real American Road Trip Season 2 episode that's coming out few weeks. It's going to be on Waypoint. So once you do it twice, you and Tim will be watching for the answer, the winner, and then we'll announce that. My eyes burn. We'll announce that when we get back. That work for you?
Is it allergies?
I'm just about to cry because of
There's
Tim.
dust in here.
There's dust. I'm not seriously. I think they get screwed.
Oh, they do.
They do get screwed. So Tim,
I love you too, Tim.
I do. I love you. Are you ready with the video?
I believe we've got this.
You got this. So let's do the question of the week for an Evolve rod sleeve.
Okay. When did Fish North Georgia post their very first podcast? I'll read it again. When did Fish North Georgia post their very first podcast?
All right. So first answer in the comment section gets an Evolve rod sleeve. And let's run that video. The Real American Road Trip Season 2 is coming up.
Fish on.
My next great adventure took me to northern Michigan, a place I'd never been to before. And I can't believe just how beautiful it was. From crystal clear rivers to Lake Michigan. What the hell is that? My Lord. Beautiful forest and farmlands and some amazing sand dunes. And I fished in ways I've never fished before. I went for king salmon, coho, lake trout, and
There you go. Another one. Double one.
got a double. And I even got to do a little fly fishing in some of the most pristine river water I've ever seen.
Oh,
Got it,
yes.
got it.
That's a nice brown, brother.
Well, that was fun. And the best part about the entire trip was the people that I met. Some great characters, great food, great drink. You guys are going to love it. I had the time of my life. So come join me. You're watching the Real American Road Trip. All right, we're back right there. So now pull back up them comment sections. One thing about doing that is we couldn't read who won it. So yeah, so there's a bunch. Yeah,
We need
we got to go all the way back up. It's
We
been a
need
hot
the
minute.
month, the day, and the year.
The month, the day, and the year.
I'm saying there's some dates on there that was like this was way before it was invented.
We've been doing it a hot minute.
I know,
We're-
but
we
there's
still-
a couple of dates on there.
we-
That's like
Yeah, we still suck, but we can do it. So
I think I know what it is.
you know what it is, but
I
you
think
can't
I
win.
know what it is.
So month, date, and year. So pull Robert back up while them guys are doing it. So Kevin, let you know when we get the right one. But I saw a question. How much money do you spend on the elites in estimate for a year?
So I just roughly added it up, and it's somewhere between about 70 to 80,000.
To go fish.
to go fish.
And if you don't win, if you're one of those guys that don't cut a check at all, I mean,
Oh yeah, I cut a check about every tournament.
about every
year.
turn you have lost. I mean, you're in the hole.
Top 50.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like a guy like me, when I go to all these tournaments on the opens last year and then this elites this year, I have to literally cash a check and at least 6 of the 9 to even think about.
6 of the 9. How much do you think you spent on fishing in an entire year?
These past 2 years, a lot.
A lot. What's a lot?
This year, I had to pay $45,000 just to enter these tournaments.
Yeah.
You know what I
And then
mean?
and you do like you're gonna fish. You fish pot tournaments as well, other things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I originally got into the opens. My deposit was from my fruit jar and like my piggy bank from all the knot tournaments I'd won and just racking up over the years. So I mean, I truly have invested everything in this. So I mean, I have to make money doing it.
Oh, I get it. I get it. Do you remember the very first tournament you ever fished?
Yeah, I do. Fort Loudon
What was
Lake.
that? On where?
Fort Loudon.
Fort Loudon.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so see, they're looking for the winner. See if anybody gets this Evolve rod sleeve. What brand rod sleeves you use?
I use Rod Warrior USA.
All right, they pretty good.
Yeah, they're great.
We're
They're
gonna have to get you one of
fully
these evolved.
customizable.
Uh-huh.
You can get whatever logo you want on them. They're neoprene. They're great. I love it. I used to use the old rod socks or whatever they're called. That
Yeah.
all your treble hooks. I mean, shoot, you couldn't even.
Yeah. I
If
know
you
it's
wanted to
rough.
get a spook out, it would take you 10 minutes. But now,
You know
thank
what?
goodness, the neoprene.
Yeah. They
That's
fuss
really
about
changed the
technology,
game.
but they don't fuss about technology and other things. Like the rod sleeves have come so
Exactly.
far. The rods have come so far. Everything else has come so far, but that technology's fine. That
Yeah, it's
technology's
great.
fine. It's like that. Is anybody even close?
No.
All right, guys, you're not close to winning. You guys keep looking. Now, do you remember the first tournament you won?
No, I don't. I really don't.
You don't?
No.
What about like a BF? Well, you fished in college, right?
Yeah.
Did you win any? How'd you do in
Yeah.
college?
Yeah, I won some.
You
I
won
remember my
some?
first college win. That was freaking awesome because listen to this.
All right.
It was the Tennessee Bass Nation state championship in 2019. I was a sophomore, and I had to fish in that tournament against Cole Floyd, John Garrett, Tristan McCormick, Cody Huff, KJ Queen, Cole Sands, Jacob Fouts, some other hammers on Pickwick that are local, just BFL guys that win every time. You know, I mean, it was truly like if you looked at the top 10, everybody in the top 10 is on the Elites or the Bass Pro Tour now.
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome to look back and just look at the results and be like, dang,
That was a loaded field.
it was
Yeah.
loaded.
What is so far? Huh? Do what?
Do
Do you have the right answer, Kevin? Because everybody keeps saying the same damn
No,
thing.
I do not. Josh gave me the answer. Your partner.
Don't look at
So
my
if
ass.
there's-
I don't know when we did it.
Y'all, well, your partner's team
because
camaraderie.
I've seen it a couple times, and there's a couple people that got it right.
You ought to know better. Josh is a dumbass. I love you, Josh. I know you're watching.
Hold on. Do you remember the first episode, the first ever podcast done in the church?
The live one?
The very first podcast.
Very first
with the
podcast
rest
we
in
did.
the church.
It was Shane Dover.
Negative.
See,
No,
that shows you hell I don't
The
remember.
first one that Josh said you did, you weren't even open yet.
Correct.
What was the first one I
The very
did?
first one y'all did was about electric reservoirs.
Hell, I don't know.
It was
It's like he don't remember
No.
he don't remember his first tournament he won. I don't remember the first podcast
the
we
very
ever did.
first
So
one.
anyway, y'all go figure that shit out.
It was-
I'm gonna end up giving Evolve rod sleeves to half the damn nation out there or whatever. Doing that. So anyway, all
You're
right.
talking about this thing.
The live well.
The-
Okay.
So that's where the confusion is, because before the live well ever existed, him and Josh started doing podcasts, and they got a few little local guys that were kind of big name, Jimbo on Lanier,
Pre-recorded stuff.
pre-recorded stuff that was done.
That's
over there
the
in
only
church.
thing that Josh had.
Okay,
As a
so
date.
let's redo this.
We're gonna have to redo this.
Redo this question. So all right, so here we go. We're gonna start. I'm gonna ask a question. So forget everything about that question. What is the name of Kevin's wife?
Oh Lord,
That's a good one.
What is the name of Kevin's wife? First person to put Kevin's wife in there, they get the Evolve rod sleeve.
That's a good one. I didn't think about that.
Think about that. So all right, anyway, you got a woman?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
You can't afford one.
You can't afford one right
No,
now.
I
Listen,
can't.
at your age, don't, man. Listen, rent your women and rent your place to live. You'll be fine like that. That's all you need for a while. So creepy if you know it, though. That is kind of creepy if they know it. I say it all
Do
the
you
time.
want- I know. Do you want?
because then he'll make some joke.
Yeah. So anyway, all right. I got to listen. I got an important guest up here, and he's sitting there listening to all of us BS and everything like that. So, going forward with you now, you're going to go into your second season. When do they release the lakes?
I think in October.
Okay, is there one lake in the nation that you do not want to see, or in the area they fish that you just do not want to see on there?
The Harris chain.
And why is that?
I just do not like it at all. I fished there in college about 4 or 5 times, and now in the opens last year we fished there, and then this year in the elites we fished there. But I just, I
I get it.
wouldn't mind ever going back to that place.
You hate it that bad?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there and everybody wants to know? Clint Bartlett won. I just want to know, Clint, did you Google it or did you remember it? So that's what I want to know. All right. Is there one lake that you hope to see on the schedule?
Mm.
Oh, he's got it.
I want to see Lanier. I've never been there, and I feel like I'd like it. But I don't know. That's tough.
It is a tough question, especially when you ain't had time to think about it. The only problem with Lanier is we only really have one ramp that could handle that.
I would like to see it go to Dale Hollow.
Dale Hollow. All right, what is it about Dale that would be so good for you?
I mean, I don't know. It's
Is
freaking
is it the probability of breaking like an 8-pound smallmouth still out of Dale Hollow? The reason why?
Yeah, I don't know. There hadn't been any like true just megalodons like they used to catch out there. I mean, you can still catch 5 and 6 pounders, but it's the best lake in Tennessee for sure.
What's your biggest smallmouth you ever caught?
6'5".
Biggest spotted bass you ever caught?
The biggest spotted bass I've ever caught is only like a 5.5.
Okay, well listen, hey, you got
That's
me.
a good spot.
That's a good spot. Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that. Biggest largemouth?
10.56. So 10.5 pounds.
10.5 pounds.
What's the most overrated bait out there on the market today?
Overrated.
Overrated bait on the market today.
That's a hard question.
That is a hard question. Trying to think.
I'm trying to make TikToks out of this too, so that's why shooting this question at him. What's the most overrated bait to you, Kevin? While he's thinking about it.
Well, I think too.
I got one. I'm not
what is
going to throw shade at this company because people have caught so many, but I really think the most overrated bait is a Berkeley flatworm.
Nope, I'd say the Hellraiser.
Well, the Hellraiser too. But
I was going to say anything Berkeley.
Anything Berkeley. But you know what's funny is with that flatworm, I have guys that called me up. Hey, you got flatworms? I had one this week come in and want to know if I had the 3.5 inch or whatever it is flatworm. And all I had it was in this god awful color. And he bought it just because it was a flatworm.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Overrated. I mean, you can catch them on any other worm that looks that shape or size, but everybody think it's the holy grail of catching smallmouth, and it's just a regular accent little worm.
It is just shaped a little different.
Like back in 2019, 2020, everybody was trying to stock up like crazy to get those because they had to go fish with them up north, but I don't know.
Well, let me ask you this, because I had a guy come in and we make a little weedless net head, and he was going up north for smallmouth, and he made me dye the head yellow or chartreuse. Yeah. Is that a big thing up there? Because I thought, that was kind of strange, but just the head, he wanted it dyed yellow.
I've never used a dyed head like that, but I mean, I do use very bright chartreuse baits when I'm fishing for smallmouth on the bed.
Yeah, totally makes sense. Outside of bass fishing, what is a bucket list fishing trip for you?
I would like to go peacock bass fishing with big topwater.
Now, you talking about like true peacock down in South America?
Yeah,
not
in Brazil. In Brazil.
Brazil. So if I set that trip up, you want to go?
Heck yeah.
All right, well, listen. I had some guides reach out to me, and they told me that they would start setting these trips up. If I could get 7 or 8 people to pay to go, I got mine free. We just do it through the store. And look at you laughing. Hell, I mean, we're businessmen at the end of the day. If I can get a free trip to South America to fish for peacocks and look at pygmy women and all that, or whatever it is they got down there.
How many you get to take with you?
Huh?
How many do you get to take with you?
7 or 8.
Let's go peacock fishing.
Yeah.
Kevin said he would pay you it all.
I'd like to catch some big largemouth in Mexico too.
Now, I had Buka on Tuesday night, and he was talking about Lake Bacharach, or however you say that. Rock or what? Yeah, I can't pronounce that. But he was talking about how unreal it is with big swim baits right down there. And I don't know. Do you know Justin Kimmel?
Yeah, I know who that is. I don't know him like very well
personally. So he went to Zimbabwe a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about on the MPFL Live, the weigh-in today, that he wants to take some pro anglers back over there. And he was talking about, he goes, I'd like to go try to catch a world record because he believes the world record largemouth bass is in Zimbabwe.
I have heard that.
Yeah. So, but getting out of the country and stuff, but peacock bass.
Yeah, I've just seen the videos and stuff of people throwing a huge spook and about a 25-pound peacock explodes on it like a bull shark.
It's violent. It is violent.
I want to get some of that.
You know, I know Florida's got them, but I think it's totally different when you're down there in the middle of the Amazon or whatever it is down there trying to catch those things. All right, so listen. So I'm gonna try to set up a peacock bass trip, and if I do, you got to go.
I will. I would love to.
All right, there you go. Overhyped. What about this fuzzy dice thing?
I was gonna say that, but
yeah,
I did get beat by that at Smith Lake, so I can't say it.
But you know, a blind hog can find an acorn every once in a while, right?
Yeah.
But do you remember who put out that spinner bait a couple years ago that actually had like a ball on top?
Oh, Yozuri.
The
knuckleball.
The knuckleball. Did you ever throw the knuckleball on that? Did you ever throw anything like that?
No, I didn't. I did throw one spinner bait one time it had like 3 rings that attached to the blade. So when it would spin and then stop and spin the other direction and then stop and spin the other direction. I forgot what it was called, but it was wild.
At that point, I think you're overthinking the spinner bait a little bit too much, don't you think?
I agree.
I mean, I like somebody sitting there as an engineer somewhere and going, we need a spinner bait to reverse spin mid-cast.
Yeah.
Gotta love Kitech. Gotta love Kitech, but they think they acting like they innovate in spinnerbait fishing by making flat black and flat white. And there ain't no telling how many skirts people made spinnerbait fishing over the years with flat white and flat black.
Okay,
you ain't seen them?
Yeah.
They got a spinnerbait out that's like got flat paint, flat white skirt, flat white blade, flat black. They're like, oh, it's changing the game of spinnerbait.
It's all
like there's been people making flat skirts for years.
Do you tinker with anything and DIY stuff, or you just stick with JDM?
Yeah, I tinker with stuff for sure. I actually
give me a tip. Give me, for a guy that's watching this and just wants a tip. Give me a bait and how you can tinker with it to make it better.
So mainly the tinkering I do is I understand that the hooks that come on a lot of these baits and a lot of the hooks that you buy from the store on a bait aren't good. You know what I mean? So I like to replace all my hooks on anything I can replace my hook on.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now let me ask you, do you buy into the red hook thing?
No.
You don't. So in your experience, red hooks don't make a bit of difference. I'm glad somebody says it. I know some guys like the red hooks.
It's a myth.
Huh?
It's a myth to me.
It's a myth.
I think it's a confidence thing for those kind of people.
I agree with you. And what I always get tickled, and again, I'm no expert, but when they put it on a deep diving crankbait, but the scientists tell us that as you go through the water column, red disappears quicker than anything.
Red's one of the first colors to disappear in the water column.
Yeah.
But let's throw a 20-foot crankbait and it's got a red hook on it. I don't know that.
Makes them feel better.
Huh?
Makes them feel better.
Makes them feel better. Yeah. How important is color to you when, let's just say you're drop shotting? I assume you drop shot a lot?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how important is color really? Because on Lake Lanier, we have divers that tell us once they get down about 20 feet, they can't see. But we got 15,000 different colors, and guys will say this color's over that color, and maybe it is, but how important is it to you?
I think the color thing to me is the hue the bait presents. Whether, like, I like to throw mainly colors that's not like one color. But unless I'm fishing like a big worm or something, I just throw regular plum or, something like that. But like a robo worm, for example, like I like the robo worms I throw are always the 2-tone ones. So they have a color on top and then a different color on the bottom.
Right.
And
so you got
all the crankbaits I throw have a different color on top than they do on the bottom. I think that action, whenever goes beside a fish, that little roll where they see both colors, it just triggers something in their brain.
Okay. Now, do you do a lot of the new technique? You know, and again, this is not a forward-facing sonar debate, but using it, finesse fishing with these smaller style swim baits. It seems like the market's getting flooded with them right now, and there's all these different techniques coming up. In the broadest of strokes, what do you use, and how do you work it?
Are you talking about like a jig head minnow kind of deal?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like I tinker with my jig heads where I replace the hooks on. Like I have got to have a good hook for that, and I feel like a lot of companies they try to get people on this head rolls, but it has a hook that if you hook a 5-6 pounder, it's going to bend out. So you got to have a great hook, you know. So that's what I tinker with mainly, and I don't really want to give away some of the baits I throw because I like to keep that, stuff, you know. But I just try to match the profile and like the size and shape and colors of what the bait fish in that lake would be.
Okay, all right. Do you throw the underspin any at all?
Only if I'm at Hartwell.
Only if you're at Hartwell.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ryan's going to Hartwell Saturday. So, and
He can't give me the information.
No, he can give Ryan information. That's right. He can give Ryan information. So, if you were going to Hartwell,
and should too.
Saturday, yeah. What would you be throwing at Hartwell
on Saturday?
Yeah.
Right now, I'd probably have a robo worm on a drop shot rigged up. You got to have that, right? A jig for brush piles, jerk bait, maybe 3 jerk baits, several top waters like riser. What's the Berkeley 4-jointed bait? I can't think of the name of it right now. The heron bait, you know,
like the magic swimmer, the Seville style bait,
something like that. Yeah. Top waters, obviously. I don't know if I said that.
You did, yeah.
A Wanderer, probably.
Hell, how many rods you taking?
A lot.
You taking a lot, yeah. So you basically, but what would you start off with?
Probably a spook in the morning.
A spook in the morning and early.
Yeah, I might throw a buzz bait. I might throw a buzz bait or a horny toad for largemouth up shallow, like in the backs of places. Because the bait, like the little tiny thread fin, might be pushed back in the backs of places already. I don't really know. Yeah.
So Heath Hudson has a question for you. When fishing in general, how do you know when to change colors versus when to change baits?
That's actually that's the reason, the biggest thing LiveScope has helped us so much is that question right there. You can see how negatively the color of your bait affects a fish's mood or how positively they want it. You know what I mean? So that's where LiveScope comes into play, a big role, whether you want to change the colors or not.
Okay, but would you change color before you change a bait?
I would probably change the bait first.
Change the bait first. Okay,
yeah.
All right. Clint Bartlett, let's see. He says, "What's his C-jig head minnow bait?" You see that question out there pop up? Yeah, I have no idea what that means, but what's his C-jig head minnow bait? I have no idea. Clint, you're gonna have to be more specific.
Yeah, you're gonna have to be more specific.
More specific. So C minus.
C minus jig head.
Oh, I see.
Oh, jig head minnow bait. Oh, a Z2 or a Z-Man scented jerk shad.
Okay, all right. I actually had a young guy in here today who was talking about the Z-Man jerk shads today. It was actually Reed, and he said that was what helped them do so good. They won wherever they won their tournament, but then they went out to Smith and took third. But he was using the Z-Man. You use a lot of Z-Man products?
Yeah. At Smith Lake, 16 of the 20 bass I caught when I got second there was on a scented jerk shad.
On a scented jerk shad. Yeah. Z-Man scented jerk shad. Since he won't give away his juice, that's why he asked that question right there. So, you got any question, Father Time? I see you over there thinking really hard. No, you just absorbing it?
I've just had a good night tonight.
Yeah, that's it. What is the worst mistake an angler can make if he's wanting to pursue a professional career?
The worst mistake.
Yeah. Or
Probably,
some things you can advise against.
I mean, I would say getting a girlfriend that won't let you go fishing.
I think that's a smart answer. You get that sunshine and the fishing stops.
I've seen that happen a lot where really good anglers I've grown up with, that happens and see you later.
That's why I said to rent them. That's exactly why I said you rent where you own and you rent your women. There was another question in there. Do you throw let's see, no, that's not going out. Something about a big glide bait.
Yeah.
Go back down to the bottom there, Tim. You're going the wrong way for me. Do you throw big glide baits? Dennis Rice wants to know.
I do.
Okay, what kind do you throw?
I throw all kinds. Like I have probably, I'd say 15 or 20. I like the choppy glides, kind of like the KGB and the Mike Buka trick shad. Those are two of my favorites. Then I like the darter, the clutch darter, and then the clutch. What's the big clutch called? It's the 8-incher. I throw that when I'm actually using forward facing sonar over brush or something for big gizzard shad eaters. That's the one I choose. That big clutch.
Big clutch.
Can't think. Yeah, it's an 8-inch clutch glide. It's huge. But I also like a Roman made negotiator. That's the first one I really got. Besides
every glide bait fisherman's got a negotiator.
Yeah,
the guys who are serious into it
has to have a negotiator.
You have to have a negotiator.
I got you.
That was my first $100 plus glide bait I bought.
Yeah, boy, guys can drop some serious money on glide baits.
No doubt.
They can.
Yeah, but the one thing about that negotiator, and he'll probably agree with you, that
it looks
negotiator does what you want it to do.
Yeah.
Does it not?
It does.
And you can get creative with the bait.
Mm-hmm. That's why I'm kind of liking more of the choppy glides now, because you can actually put more pizzazz into it than you could like those older glides. Like the first couple I got were just actual true glide baits, where it was kind of just more reel handle oriented. Whereas now these new creators of the glides, you can really do a lot of stuff with your rod and reel and put a lot of life into your bait.
Gotcha. All right. So look, in 2 weeks, was it 2 weeks, 3 weeks? 2 weeks. We're going out. The crew here is going out to Guntersville for a guys' weekend. We're going to be fishing Guntersville. What do I need to do? What do I need to throw so I can kick these guys' ass?
I haven't been to Guntersville since July or June. Since June. I'd say the grass will be heavily matted probably by now.
Right.
And you got to find the mats where it's canopied and not like, if you're fishing mats where you don't think a bass can come through, just get out of there. But I would say there would be a decent frog bite, and punching. Punching is what I would do first. Like, you probably will catch.
We don't do punching on it. We don't do punching on Lakeland here.
You're too short to punch.
I am too short to punch.
Like right now, this time of year is when you really start catching good bags punching.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, it would be hard to not still look and see if they were offshore, like schooled up. I mean, I'm sure there might still be some out there.
Right.
And they get like the current breaks in between the eelgrass and all kinds of stuff out there. It's truly an amazing lake.
Yeah, it is. It is. You ever fished any one of those Spro tournaments?
I haven't. The frog only tournament?
Yeah, they're having a frog only tournament here. I think it's in October. And he was telling me they were expecting like 400 boats for that thing. That's a big ass tournament.
For sure.
Greg Perry wants to know, are you going to do guide trips? And if so, how would you schedule one?
So I don't have my captain's license yet, so I'm not going to do guiding, but I am doing some consulting right now where I do electronics training and live scope training and setups on their boat, on your particular boat.
That is a smart way to get around the rule.
So I'm not going to bring you any rods or reels or nothing.
Right.
And I'm not going to bring a rod. I'm solely electronics trainer.
Okay, hey, that works. So there you go. So if somebody wanted to schedule one of those with you, how would they get in touch with you?
So either DM me on Facebook or Instagram, or call Matt McKee at McKee Outdoors in Maryville, Tennessee.
Okay. All right, and I got to ask a personal question. How tall are you?
5'6".
See, I'm an inch taller than him. If Robert Gee,
with shoes on, I'm 5'7".
Okay, me too. That's the truth. So if he's my height and that man right there says he can catch fish punching, how am I too short?
Are you coordinated?
No, we didn't say shit about coordination. You said I was too short to punch. You didn't say a damn thing about coordination.
I'm gonna make fun of you. I like to see you with a ounce and a half weight in your hand trying to punch.
Hell, I mean,
It'd reach you'd throw it up to the sun.
But that's not the point. You said I was too short.
Well, you are too.
And there was a comment. Clint Bartlett said, "You're never too short to punch." That Gee he's a punching fool right there. So
he must not understand me and your relationship.
Oh, we have a relationship. Yeah, he's a gargantuan.
He is for sure.
What are you, 6'7"?
Yeah.
Holy cow!
All right, so listen. This guy likes to throw a Zoom horny toad like 10 months out of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, do you throw the Zoom horny toad any?
For sure.
You can say if it's an overrated bait. You don't have to be nice to it.
I do. I like
you
it.
Throw it?
I mean, the horny toad and the Trixie shark I throw them.
Okay. What is your color? What's your favorite color of horny toad?
I literally only have white, black, and the gray one.
Okay. So you only throw white. You only throw white. He got it in there like that. Is there a technique other than just skipping that thing under a dock and reeling it in that you can do with a horny toad? I actually had a guy ask me that the other day, and I didn't really know how to answer. I said, all I know is skip it under a dock, throw it, and just reel it across the top. Is there anything else you can do with that? Do you know anything else you can do with a horny toad other than just what I said?
I fish it over grass, but I've also heard people, they reel it right under the surface. They don't wake it. They kind of swim it like a swim jig, you know how people do the Alabama shake, but you keep it, I don't know, a couple inches under the water and reel it.
Let's see. TKR wants to know, think you came to Center Hill last year. What did you think about it?
I think it's an awesome lake. It's top 5 in Tennessee for sure. Top 3 maybe.
Where's Center Hill at? Where's that located?
Middle Tennessee.
Yeah.
Middle Tennessee.
All right, so you grew up in Tennessee. You grew up in Tennessee. Did you ever catch any muskie up there?
I've never caught a muskie. I've hooked 2, and they broke me off both times.
Was it in the lake or a river?
It was in St. Clair.
In St. Clair?
Yeah.
So you know where the Collins River is?
I don't.
McMinnville. You know where McMinnville is?
Yeah.
So in McMinnville, you got the Collins River goes through there. Mm-hmm. So we filmed there in season 1. I caught 2.
Really?
Yeah, they weren't very big, but I was just curious if you fish, because I didn't even know Tennessee had muskie.
Oh, yeah, we do. There's some close to my house in Melton Hill Lake and Watts Bar. There's a decent population of them, but I've never – I know a guy that is a full-time guide 20 minutes that lives 20 minutes from me that just guides around where I live for muskie, and he's fully muskied out. That's all he fishes for.
Really? Did you know that to keep a muskie in Tennessee, it has to be at least 50 inches?
Really?
Yeah, actually, all state law. So I didn't know that either. Hell, I didn't even know you had to fish, but we saw that when we were up there. What is one type of fishing that you like to do outside of bass fishing, just for enjoyment, or do you do anything like that?
Yeah, I love to fish, like, so much. And my 2 other passions besides bass fishing is crappie fishing and trout fishing.
Say that again.
Crappie fishing and trout fishing.
Why do you guys call it crappie? It's crappie.
I know everybody in Western North Carolina calls it crappie too, but everybody around here calls it crappie.
Calls it crappie.
Yeah.
So how is the crappie fishing when you guys are at?
It's pretty good. I mean, we can catch 2 to 2.5 pounders pretty good. But
now, you a live bait guy?
Watts Bar and Chick, you can catch some 3s if you get lucky. But
so Fred Ashcraft says Center of Alabama is Weiss Lake. I don't know what that is.
I've never been to Weiss, but apparently that's a great crappie lake.
Yeah, it is. It is. When you fish for them, live bait or you throw jigs and stuff?
Yeah, I throw artificial only.
You throw artificial.
Yep.
Do you throw live bait just for fun anywhere at any time? Or
Oh,
you just
I
kinda
have.
get back?
Yeah, I have before for sure.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
What, crappie fishing?
Yeah.
I caught one like 2 weeks ago by accident.
He don't fish for nothing but bass.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until about a year and a half ago was the first time he ever scaled a fish. We caught some brim. This man right here had never scaled a fish before in his life.
I never keep them.
I'm a big walleye fisherman too. I forgot to add that.
You like walleye, so you got a good population up there?
Yes.
What's the biggest walleye you ever caught?
The biggest walleye I ever caught was a 10-pounder.
10-pounder. That's a pretty good size. Sam Axe wants to know what reel speed and brand of reel for punching.
I throw the Shimano Chronarch XG, so it's a 8-1-1.
8-1-1. Okay. All right. So we're about an hour 35 in, getting close to the end of the show. If you got any more questions for Robert, definitely throw them out there so that we can make sure he gets them. Now, excuse me, going into the future, what would you like to see yourself do differently next year than this year?
I'd like to cash a check in every event.
I mean that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Other than making money.
I don't know. I think we're going to have a schedule this coming year where it's going to be more predominantly spawn related and shallow water fishing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to get on live a couple times fishing shallow, either throwing top water or doing
But you
something
rookies
cool.
don't know how to do that.
Yeah. Guess not.
Y'all don't know how to do that stuff. You're supposed to be out in the middle of the lake staring at your screen. At least that's what I've been told.
Yeah.
So that's good.
that's what I want to do, just so I can kind of prove the haters wrong.
That's right. What's your favorite punch bait?
A Berkeley, what's it called? It's the one with the 4 flaps at the bottom.
Pit balls.
Pit balls.
Pit balls.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm going to have to try punching when we go out there. Can
fun.
you guys help me set up a punch rod?
You
can
got
do it. I do own something other than a spinning reel. Okay, so let me ask you this: of the rods on your boat, what percentage are spinning and what percentage are bait casters?
Everybody's seen me on live with a spinning rod in my hand, but I definitely have a lot more bait casters than spinning rods. I probably have 10 spinning rods and about 30 bait casters.
Okay. What brand of braid do you use?
On like what type
Like
of
your
scenario?
spinning rod. Like let's just say you're spinning. Do you go braid to fluoro?
Yeah, I go braid to floor on my spinning rod.
Okay. What brand of braid do you use?
I like the Sunline D braid.
Okay. We got to get some cast braid in your hand.
Okay.
Have you heard of them?
I've heard of cast, the big spook looking bobber
The
thing.
OG? You like the OG?
Yeah. OG.
I'm telling you, you got to get your hand on some of their
got
braid
some.
and change your life.
So
It'll change your life.
is it like a sinking braid or just a regular 8-strand or
It's 12.
It's a 12
it's
strand.
12 strands.
12-strand? Yeah, I need to try it.
Braid. It's the best
It'll
casting braid.
outcast any other braid.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah, I definitely
will.
need to try it.
It really will.
So I got a
That's
guy
all.
on here. I got a guy on here who might can get you a spool up there to put it on your rod. You need to try that stuff out.
Yeah, I'll do it.
It's also,
Sure.
yeah, it's Teflon coated. So Clint Bartlett, get in touch with Ryan and let's get some cast braid in this man's hand right there.
Yeah, I
So,
need some for sure. I like the cast far braid. That's why I use the D braid, because I can just cast it farther than the regular
yeah,
stuff.
there you go. So Clint Bartlett's on. So we're gonna have some of that cast coming to you. I'm telling you, it'll change your life. Now Tony says this. He's got a question for you. He goes, I hate to ask, don't want to open a pigeonhole you. What's one key to success when using forward-facing sonar for fish that are moving around? I find they move so fast I can't keep up with them.
I guess either get a faster trolling motor, or do it more to where you can run your trolling motor at a faster setting. That goes back to time on the water where you just feel more comfortable with the foot of the trolling motor under your foot. That's the one thing I see when I'm doing my like consultation of live sonar and side scan and all that is
Right.
they don't have enough time on their trolling motor, and it's like they I don't know, I wouldn't say it's their hand-eye coordination, but it's like their coordination isn't comfortable yet
Right.
to keep up with the fish, if that makes sense. So that's one thing. It's like it's just practice. It's time on the water and really practicing it.
Okay. Fred Ashcraft's got a question. Do you compare yourself to any of the veteran anglers? Or is there one
yeah.
that, yeah, go ahead.
So I don't compare them to one, but I like to say I am a mix between Buddy Gross, Jesse Wiggins, Ott Defoe, and Koya Fujita.
Okay, that's a pretty good group. Now, if you didn't know any better, he just listed out those names. What would that mean? What does that say to you?
He likes to fish offshore.
Likes to fish offshore. Is that pretty correct? I mean, that's a good way to say it.
Yeah.
He likes to fish offshore. For those of you heading to Cartersville, there's a bad storm coming. And is anybody watching the Braves? Well, I didn't know what the Braves score is. So
y'all big Braves fans?
Do what?
Y'all big Braves fans?
Well, hell yeah. Absolutely. And dogs.
This is pretty cool.
All right, go ahead and tell me.
Y'all will like me more now, even though I'm a Tennessee fan. But guess who I graduated with and it was his catcher in high school?
Who's that?
Spencer Strider.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I was Spencer Strider's catcher on the state championship team. We graduated together.
That's pretty awesome.
You were offered a scholarship, weren't you?
Yes.
College?
Several. But, I mean, I didn't really see it going anywhere because of my stature.
Bless you. That's exactly.
He's only 5'6".
Yeah. I didn't hit bombs like him.
He's a second baseman, right?
Well, he's still only 5'6".
Yeah, but you can get away being 5'6" at second base. He can hit, yeah. But what's the shortest catcher in Braves 4 to 5? What's the shortest catcher in baseball?
Probably like 5'8".
5'8".
Yeah,
I
and
get
they
that.
can hit bombs. That was my downfall, is I couldn't hit bombs like they can, you know.
I understand. Did Strider throw as hard then as he looks like he throws now?
Yeah, for sure.
Tell me what it's like catching Spencer Strider.
I've definitely broke my finger a few times. In high school, our junior and senior year, there would be about 30 MLB and college scouts behind me, radar gunning every pitch. So that was, I don't know, I feel like it kind of helped me transition to fishing in front of a live camera, just because I've had pressure on me a lot in my life, you know what I mean? And but I mean, he threw 98 in high school, so
wow,
he won Gatorade Player of the Year and everything. Like we were pretty good back then. It was good. It was a good time.
It was good. Now is he? Now, granted, you're the guest of the show, but I got one more Strider question.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of a eccentric kind of fella. You know what I'm saying?
Oddball.
He's an oddball. Okay, that's the best way. Was he like that in high school?
Yeah.
Describe Spencer Strider in high school.
He's exactly how he is now. I mean, literally in high school, he knew he was going to be in the MLB, and he just a different bird.
Right there. So
he's a great guy. He's just different.
Well, yeah. So are you a Braves fan?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's good. So you're right. There you go. Was he only fastball in high school?
Pretty much.
Well, hell, if you throw a 98, you don't even throw
in high school.
Yeah.
You don't even throw a changeup in high school like that when you throw like that.
I remember the first guy I faced that threw like in the low 90s, and we're all like,
that's a BB.
We're gonna take us a minute to figure out.
Yeah, I remember. I think our junior and senior year, he didn't lose a game. Obviously, I think his record was like 29-0 in those 2 years. And our first game, our senior year, there was like 30 or 35 scouts, including David Eckstein was the back behind the plate.
Yep.
Radar gunning, and 7-inning game in high school, right? So there's 21 outs.
Yeah.
He threw 19 strikeouts and only allowed one guy to get on base because he walked him, and I threw him out the next pitch. So there was a guy on base for one pitch. So
there you go.
That's how it was playing with Spencer Strider. I mean, nobody could hit it. I mean,
I don't. Now, did you ever see him hit anybody?
yes.
I bet that shit hurts. I bet that would hurt.
Yeah, like people would be down on the ground for a couple minutes with training staff out there. Like,
oh, I don't doubt it.
He hit somebody in the helmet one time, and it was a loud thud.
Oh, I bet so. I'd be scared.
You take your mask off, take your catcher's mask off, and you're like, damn, was that as loud as I thought it was?
Hey, the worst pain that's ever happened to me was when he was pitching. A guy actually timed it right, but his ball had so much life to it, he barely nicked it on the bottom of his bat, and it missed my glove by probably an inch and hit me straight in the cup. I mean,
that's what my next question was going to be.
Direct 100-mile-per-hour nick off the bottom of the bat right on my cup. And I was down for the count, threw up. I mean, it was bad.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Just for our viewers, explain what it feels like to be hitting the nuts by a Spencer Strider fastball.
It's like I don't know, somebody kicking you in the nuts.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Good. Yeah.
Carson wants to know if he hit too back in high school.
He hit freshman and sophomore year, but once he got to about 94, 95, our coach shut that down.
You still in touch with him?
Yeah. So not this year because he's hurt, unfortunately. But last year I went to one of his games, got to go out on the field with him and hang out with him.
That's cool.
His wife, him and his wife. I mean, I graduated with both of them, and we've stayed friends. Like whenever he comes, because he lives in Knoxville in the off season, so I go over there and hang out with him several times in the off season. So it's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. I don't know where this question comes from. I'm gonna give you one more question before we let you go. How good are you at pool?
Decent. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, so there's a story behind this then.
Yeah, I mean, I'm decent.
Decent. Are you a hustler?
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I tell you what. So you got any more questions for this young man over here?
No, I don't see any pool sticks in the background though.
Well, I see that deer head. That's what I've been staring at.
I see that too.
Oh, look, his ass has got one right there.
It is.
Look at that. That's awesome right there. He hustles, Clint Bartlett says. How about you? You got any more questions for this young man?
That's his other income.
I don't think so. It's just enjoy watching you. Good luck to you next
Thank
year.
you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I tell you what, listen, man, I've enjoyed it. First time I've actually got to talk to you. I hope we didn't scare you off enough where you won't do it again.
No, I'll do it anytime.
All right, well, good. We're going to hold you to that. And maybe next time we'll have all our shit together at the beginning of the episode so we don't have the speakers not working on it. But in all honesty, dude, from our vantage point, you've had a hell of a year.
Thank you.
And it's been very impressive watching you as a rookie kind of navigate through all the BS that is the Bassmaster Elites. And I know there's some good stuff, there's some bad stuff. Yeah. I saw several times in the comments about the way you handle yourself. Very mature in the way you handle yourself. And just the fact that you survived a Spencer Strider fastball to the nuts, man, right there makes you a fan favorite right here. So that's pretty cool and all that. But he got it made with us now. We got to come up with him a nickname, though.
Yeah, I do need to come with a nickname.
Oh, yeah, I need you to do something for me real quick.
Yeah.
I need you to look in the camera and say, yum, yum.
Yum, yum.
There you go. That's all I need. I'll tell you after we hit the stream what that means once we end this. But seriously, man, it's been great getting to meet you and watching you, and I hope you'll come back again. And we're looking forward to watching you, watching you grow. And we got to make friends with you guys now so that when you're holding up the Classic trophy and then the Angler of the Year and all that, you'll still come talk to us lowlifes and everything.
For sure. No doubt.
Like but listen, seriously, I appreciate you. And just we're going to end it right here, guys. I want you to hang around, though, Robert, for just a second after we're off like that. And Appreciate you guys watching. Sorry about the beginning of the show. I know it was a little bit rough, but we got it going together. If you're going to be on the water Celebrity Day weekend, first of all, enjoy your time, but be safe. All right, especially if you're out there fishing. You get on one of these big lakes. Lord knows that it's probably the last big hurrah for the cabin cruisers and the jet skiers out there. So, definitely be careful, but enjoy your time. Enjoy some time with your family. I appreciate you guys. And we'll be back next Tuesday with another episode. And we'll see you then. Y'all have a good evening.